going forward, and I understand you said the president wants, he does want the dialogue that's happening in Congress. And I appreciated Joaquin Castro, my colleague over here from Texas's comments earlier about moving forward past the current regime. That was an interesting take. But going forward, will the ag trade, and I have rice farmers in Texas in my district and other producers as well, and 5 ports, so they're very interested in the trade part of this. Will the trade of ag products be able to be conducted without a lot of input and some would say interference from the administration?
I think that's a great question, and we know that there's an enormous amount of interest in that. I actually may defer to my colleague on some of this.
They'll feel good about that.
They will, and it'll give me a chance to have a little bit of water. So.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Smith.
We made changes in the current set of regulations that change the financing terms to what the ag exporters had requested, and so it should be easier for them to be able to send
without a lot of red tape,
without coming into HFAC for any requirements.
Okay, good. Mr. Borman, any input?
Well, one thing that we were not able to address in our changes is the TISRA requirement that there be a license that's no more restricted than a license exception. So that piece stays in place, but that's currently a 12-day process.
12-day process, okay.
Or for somebody who wants to make an ag export, comes in and waits, submits an application to us and gets an answer, yes or no, in 12 days.
Okay. Well, then other than changing the cash in hand rule, what other changes in HFAC do you know are in the offing? Anybody?
When you say other than change,
that would actually give us potentially new opportunities for ag products in particular.
So the other thing that we did was we allowed U.S. banks to establish correspondent accounts in Cuban banks, and what helps with that with the ag trade is right now that if you want, an American exporter has to get payment from a Cuban exporter, and it has to go through a third country and then come to the United States. Now under this rule they won't. They can pay directly, and the payment can be made faster and easier and make ag exporters more competitive.
Okay.
And then, sorry, I'm going to take a little bit down, but I think also the travel general licenses now make it easier for people who want to investigate business opportunities in the ag sector to go to Cuba without coming in and waiting for an OFAC license.
In many of the cases before, exporters would have to come into OFAC to seek what's called a specific license to travel down there. Now they don't have to for a variety of techniques or a variety of activities that they would use associated with trade, like the marketing and the export, the delivery. All of that can be done without coming into us to seek that license.
Okay, that's an improvement. And then, Mrs. J, I'm going to come back to you. Joaquin asked about the dry foot, wet foot policy. Tell me what that is.
It's the Cuban Adjustment Act allows that Cuban citizens who arrive on U.S. soil are permitted to adjust their status here and remain, whereas those who may be interdicted by the Coast Guard are, if they have no protection concerns, may be returned.
That's what I figured. Well, that's my questions, and I thank you all for your testimony.
Thank you very much, Mr. Weber. We were going to go to a second round of questions, so the 3 of us